Yo, what's good out there, beautiful people? How y'all doing out there today? Welcome to In God We Trust Academy podcast, family. Such an honor to do this again with you guys today. And today, I'm going to be talking about breaking bondage and protecting your human capital, guys. Drop some ones with me. Let me know where y'all tuning in from today. What's good, Tamika? Miss Jones, how you doing? Shout out to everybody, man, that is tuned in with us. Drop some ones, like, share, and subscribe before we get started. Got something special for you guys again today. A few giveaways, gifts, things of that nature, discounts, all the things that you're going to be looking for. Where y'all tuning in from? TG21, what's up? What's up, Take Forest? How you doing? Cincinnati in the house. What's going on? How you doing, Charity? Yeah, man. Every day y'all wake up, man, y'all should be in the state of learning. Always wanted to build yourself, build your character. Create generational wealth. That's what we're wanting to do. Give y'all a few more minutes, man, to get in here before we get started, man. Like I said, like, share, and subscribe with us, guys. Doing pretty good. I'm doing pretty good, man. Well rested, up, ready for the day, attacked it this beautiful day, man, and just thankful that I'm living, man, and still got my family and everything that God has given, man, and everything that has transpired up until this very moment. Anything that you hear from this point forward, guys, is going to be for educational, religious purposes only. So anybody seeking any type of legal advice, please do seek a legal advisor, as it is my religious duty to speak my religious truth and experience here with you guys today. So we're going to talk about it. We're going to see what y'all know today. See what y'all on. Yeah, let's express this. D-Town, okay. Absolutely. God is great. Amazing. Sure. All right. Alrighty. All right. So let's talk about it, guys. What do you know about your birth certificate? There are so many things that's being said about a birth certificate, what it do, what it can't do. And let's just acknowledge the facts of what we do know according to common law reasons. Okay. And does this birth certificate, social security number, and all this stuff, does it really represent you being in bondage? And is there a legal fiction character that was created? And how does this legal fiction character work, which has everything to do with your human capital? Now, this is your human capital, the flesh, the living. And you have the right to do whatever with it that you may choose to do. You can value it how you choose, or whatever the case may be is totally up to you. But today, we're going to talk about it. So the birth certificate, right? Or we could call it a security certificate, okay, which is attached to a certificated security that is right now with the United States. What is it, right? So the birth certificate, in one sense, we can look at it as it shows that you are a national of the state, right? It shows that you are a national owing permanent allegiance to a state, right? That's what it shows. And we want to make sure that you understand that. And what does that implies by you knowing what that means? So it literally is national owing permanent allegiance refers to individuals who are loyal to their state or country. These individuals are considered nationals and have a lifelong loyalty to their sovereign authority. So when it comes to um, 8 USC 1101A, it fully explains to you who a national is. So that's 8 USC 1101A. And I think it takes us down to 21, if I'm not mistaken. And when you put that in, the term national means a person owing permanent allegiance to a state. Your birth certificate proves that. It proves that you have the right of soil to the republic state on the land that you were born on. All right? So you're going to always have that. All right? And it's permanent. Key word, permanent. Permanent. That's the reason why you have the right to go to another country and also come back, return back, because it's permanent. Now, and this does not say permanent allegiance to the United States. It says permanent allegiance to a state. All right? That's what your birth certificate proves. That off the rip for you. Now, that also means that since you have a permanent allegiance to the state, that literally means that that state constitution has to protect all unalienable rights that God has given you. It has to protect it. It does not grant the right, but it has to protect it. So let's make sure that we understand that part, right? All right. So with that being said, they have to fulfill every obligation according to due process of law. It's owed to you. So they have a duty. A duty can also be considered a tax, a form of tax. So a tax is a duty is a tax. And the fact that they owe you this duty is to perform everything that is within that state constitution as well as the United States Constitution, right, of America. They have to perform to the people. Okay? That's one thing. All right, now, in a commercial sense, we just spoke in the common law sense. Now we're speaking in a commercial sense now, okay? So in a commercial sense, the birth certificate is more than a simple record of recording of your birth. Because remember, they also record this birth certificate in the Register of Deeds, same place they record land. Ask yourself that. Why do they do that? But it is a security certificate. It's also considered a certificate of a financial instrument that ties your life, labor, and human capital to a global commercial system known to be connected to the International Monetary Fund. And this happens through a carefully orchestrated process rooted in contract and trust law, as I have said to you before. So according to UCC A-201, well, a security certificate represents a form of a certificate security that's also considered a financial obligation. The issuer, which is the party that creates and backs the security, which is the government. The registered owner is the legal holder entitled to claim rights from the security, which is the legal fiction represented by the all caps. Now, mind you, they went commercial. So since they went into a commercial sense, they had to give you this particular entity in order for you to operate with the United States through commerce. Now, if you know anything about law merchant, in law merchant, they would literally go around, the merchants would literally go around and they would bind people into certain forms of debt. And even they could bind the king or queen or whoever the case may be And it allowed them to create their courts, and then their courts would run according to certain statutory codes that was created by law merchant. All right. Well, also what happens is this same situation. Well, according to them, they're going to operate their law merchant form of codes and statutes and things through what they call the bar now, which is the British academic, what you call it, the Bar Association. Yeah. So it's the registry of the bar, pretty much, right? And they literally operate according to these forms of statutes, codes, etc. by default. Now, mind you, I said default. By default, they're going to operate and deal with you. Here's the thing about the people. The people have one obligation and one obligation only. That's to assert your right, to protect it yourself. They don't have to recognize anything that you do not assert in its own proper manner. Okay? So keep it clear that the registrar acting on behalf of the government signs the files and signs and files the birth certificate, officially recognizing it as a certificate of certificated security. And this process transforms your biological existence into a financial instrument used in commerce. By doing so, the government becomes the issuer. It uses the birth certificate as a bond to secure the nation's debt. You are the collateral. Your labor and future, its productive capacity are pledged as surety. Well, literally, the collateral is your human capital. It's the energy and everything that you're going to place into this entity for it to come into existence within the commercial realm. So look at it from that point. Once the birth certificate is signed by the registrar, it's filed within the county land records, sometimes, often under agricultural. Some of you can look at your birth certificate right now, and it's going to say agriculture. Yes, the British accredited registry, right? But you're going to look at it, and it's going to say agriculture. Some of you can literally look at it right now, and on your birth certificate, it might have a little seal at the bottom that says agricultural. Some of the states do, some of them don't. But at the end of the day, it's all going to be recorded literally with the registrar and the county land records for that reason, right? Okay, this is not incidental but highly deliberate, right? Agricultural classification, human beings as living entities are treated under the law as biological property or can be livestock. Filing under agricultural legally designates individual as resources, much like crops or cattle for the nation's benefit. Well, you got to understand, you first, in order for you to understand this, you got to understand the word parents portrait. All right? Parents, PARENS, And you look up that definition, it means parent of the nation. I'm going to explain to you why this is so. So literally it means parent of the nation. It empowers the state to act on behalf of individuals who are unable to care for themselves, such as children or those with mental illness. Also, those who are civilly dead. Okay? Those who are incompetent. This doctrine allows the government to intervene in situations where individuals' legal rights need protection, enabling to bring lawsuits on behalf of the citizens, etc., right? So when you look at that, father of the nation, father of one country, it refers to the public policy power of the state as well. So under parents portrait, so let's say the state, the country is the father, and it's continually birthing people. We're going to say it like that, the birth of a nation. It's birthing people, right? So now to the state, that can be considered its form of livestock. Drop some ones if you with me. Got to make sure y'all with me. Drop some ones if you with me. Because to the state, it can be considered, okay, since it is the parent of the people, the nation, then those people can be considered its form of biological property, livestock, etc. Think of it in that way. Okay? So now, in the land recording system, this places the certificated security into the public trust system of that state, making it a recorded asset to be used for debt and commerce under national and international law. Which is why, if you go look at the national debt, it has been broken down into each citizen to have some carry some form of debt of the nation. This is why. Okay. So the issuer is the debtor, which is the government, and the reason why the government is a debtor is because it owes you the obligations. Because there has to be a consideration in the actual contract. Okay? So in the contract of the Constitution, which is also a trust indenture, then that means that they fully have to fulfill every single obligations to the letter of law, right? Every last one. So the government creates the security and is obligated to fulfill its value. The issuer is the debtor, obligated to provide the benefits tied to this security. Well, the benefits is everything that's afforded to you from the Constitution and anything that beneficial things that may be created for the government that you might have the access to for general welfare, things of that nature, and so on, right? The registered owner, which is the legal person, holds an equitable interest in the security, while the natural person provides the energy and labor backing its value. I'm going to say this again. The registered owner is the legal fiction because everything is literally registered within the legal fiction name based upon you being able to do business within the United States. So it holds an equitable interest in the actual security, while the natural person provides the energy and labor backing its value. So the property of this legal fiction is, again, your human capital. So what happens is it monetizes human capital through the issuance of Federal Reserve notes or other fiat currency. Well, if you look on the back of your Social Security card, every Social Security card starts with a letter. That letter representation of the 12 banks, which your legal fiction and your labor, et cetera, is fully tied into. So that literally means if you go and do certain loans, et cetera, with your Social Security number, it's going to go directly to that particular Federal Reserve bank that it's tied to, okay, to help generate and create this credit that is backed specifically by your human capital. All right, so let's go along with that, right? So now the borrower against the national debt using the certificated security as collateral, and it gets to secure international trade and financial agreements with the credit created from your human energy. Right? So the main thing is, do we receive everything that is going on, the Constitution and all of this for value received? We assert our position as the creditor over the certificate of security here, and the government as the issuer acknowledges as obligation as a debtor. The relationship is key to reclaiming the value derived from your human capital. So the natural person literally is the supreme creditor here. So in order to literally, I'm not going to really say reclaim your rights. We're just going to assert. You step into your rightful role as a living, sovereign individual with the equitable claim to your human capital. The legal fiction itself becomes the instrument you control in commerce, not the other way around, right? So look at this Social Security number, birth certificate. It's your avatar in the game of the United States, and you get to use it to do everything that you want to do within this particular game. Now, this game that they have is controlled in a lot of ways by statutes, okay? Now, those statutes are okay as long as they are in harmony with the Constitution that does not reflect back to become liability to the living man or woman who is afforded all rights, well, whose rights is protected fully by the Constitution. All right? So the current system operates on the set of presumptions that obscure the true relationship, okay? They act as if you are the debtor. The system presumes you are a debtor. The natural person are the same as the legal person created by a birth certificate, and this binds you to statutory obligations and debts, okay? Not of your making. They also presume that you consent. It is presumed you have knowingly agreed to this relationship by using legal person in everyday life, signing contracts, using the Social Security number, etc., right? So the fraud lies in the lack of full disclosure. At no point were you informed that your birth certificate will monetize Your human capital was pledged as collateral for the nation's debt. That is so. You had the right to reclaim your role as the creditor and reject the presumption of debtor status as well. Okay. So, in order to claim these certificate of security, begins with breaking the presumptions and asserting your true position in commerce. So, we have to recognize the legal distinction here between who you are as the living and the legal fiction. And it's really not something that needs to really be placed. You can put it on paper, great, but it's to know where you stand within the law to be able to fully operate it. Okay? Because a legal fiction will literally go into a traffic court and literally just pay the ticket because it assumes that it does has to have the privilege to drive with a driver's license and so on and so on. Okay. But the living man who is traveling in a private capacity upon the land, not on the highway, but on the land itself, because the highway is attached to the land. So you can never remove that which was already done. They can't patent anything. Here's the number one thing, too. They can't patent any natural resource. So the land honestly can't be owned by freaking anybody. It just, we're in occupation and in use of it, right? So there's nobody who can monopolize the land. Nobody can monopolize the land, ever, okay? So we just have to really know how to assert who we are in all of this. So when you break this down, if they're going to run this like a business and consider United States being a corporation, then the question you should ask yourself is, what am I in relations to this then? Well, as the people who are the creators of the Republic States, then the Republic States created the federal democracy with the United States, right? And with that being happened, that's why they're called the Union States, because they united to be considered to be called the United States of America. So that means that the people is the mere creator of this whole entire system, because without the granting of this trust and establishing the Constitution, which is the trust indenture, and creating things from that point on, then that literally makes the people the shareholders of this corporation called the United States. So as shareholders, what are we doing? Right? What are we doing? So as shareholders, you have the right to vote. You have the right to do all these things, place people into certain places in this corporation that you get to fully operate on is what you get to do. All right. So we need to make sure in every situation that we demand the issuer to fulfill his obligation as a debtor. So we want to notify the issuer of the position as the creditor, and we want to reclaim our control over our human capital. So in order to break the bondage, we have to restore our rights or literally just assert them, okay? So that means that for me as the living man, that I approach a situation according to these contracts that we are literally involved in, starting with the Constitution, and everything trickles down from there. Okay? So, with that being said, if I walk into this particular court and it says due process of law has to be afforded to you before any liberties can ever be taken from you, it is my duty to know my right and assert them and obligations here. So all I need to do is assert that right. I literally have to go in. And here's the thing. This is going to be new to a lot of you guys. Stop going in there saying all this crazy stuff. If you walk in and they ask you in their arraignment, how do you plea? Now, they used to have what they call a plea of demurrer, which is also in a form of challenging the actual jurisdiction. But they actually stopped doing that. They abolished that and they placed it into in your form of discovery tools. Okay? So some states have, some states still does it. I know Alabama still has the plea of demurrer, if I'm not mistaken. Let me research that. I think they do. In fact, I know they do. I'll look it up for y'all. And I have done this for somebody before, and just to operate the mirror. So it says, let's see, Alabama criminal procedure forms of pleas, replications, joinders, and demurrers. So yeah, that's plea of jurisdiction, plea of misnomer, plea of form of jeopardy, replication of plea of jurisdiction. So yeah, then you got pleas of guilty and not guilty. The pleas of guilty or not guilty may be made either orally or in writing, but they do have demurrers as well, though. Okay. So it says in Alabama, still today, the following forms of pleas, replication, rejoinders, and demurrers are sufficient in all cases in which they are applicable, but they are not exclusive. And any other form sufficient at common law, under statutes, or any analogous or kindred pleadings where no form is provided in this code may be used. So they're saying that, you know, if there's anything else that you can use, you can also use that as well. So I know here in Alabama, I can still do a plea of demurrer. All right, as you know. So I'll give you a definition of what that means. And it does help, but some of them have taken that away. So you need to understand what it means for you to do next. Okay. So demurrer is the formal mode of disputing the sufficiency and law of the pleading of the other side. Okay. In effect, it is an allegation that even if the facts as stated in the pleading to which the objection is taken to be true, yet their legal consciences are not such as to put the demurring party to the necessity of answering them or proceeding further with the cause, because they could literally be bringing or operating in the courtroom in the wrong manner. Like, let's say a court only has the limited jurisdiction to give a bench trial. So you could literally do a plea of demurrer here in Alabama to challenge that. Even if the facts are true, they still don't have the power to operate this case or authority, because they don't have the power to give an impartial jury trial, right? So that's one way. An objection made by one party, all right, to his opponent's pleading, alleging that he ought to not answer it for some defect in law in the pleading. It omits the facts and refers the law arising thereon to the court. So literally, we can literally say, hey, we're not here to challenge any of the facts or anything like that. But however, your legal procedures here are absolutely wrong. That is a challenge of the jurisdiction. And then whatever the case may be is so. Now, if you can't do a plea of demurrer, then it's best to go in and just say not guilty. Because what not guilty, now this is me exercising from the common law side of things. It's just why I listen to what I'm saying. All right, so by saying not guilty, automatically, if I say not guilty, that means what I'm saying is that there is no subject matter here. And if they find that I am not guilty, it removes the subject matter. The subject matter is the literally cause of action of why we're in court in the first place. Okay? So if I remove that, that automatically takes away subject matter jurisdiction. If we take subject matter jurisdiction away, we just took away territorial jurisdiction, because if the subject matter did not happen, then the court does not have territory over nothing happened in their territory in order for us to be in this court in the first place. And then it also means they lose personal jurisdiction. So that's all three that we're dealing with. Okay? Subject matter, personal, and territorial jurisdiction. Just by saying not guilty is what we're saying. If you do a plea of demurrer, that's still the same thing. You could be challenging territorial, subject matter, or personal jurisdiction, either or. Okay? A general demurrer is a demurrer framed in general terms without showing specifically the nature of the objection, and which is usually restored to where the objection is to matter of substance. So if there's no substance there, it's gone. A special demurrer is one which accepts to the sufficiency of the pleadings on the opposite side and shows specifically the nature of the objection and the particular ground of exception. So I actually did this plea of demurrer for this one. Well, I didn't do it. Somebody took my plea of demurrer that I created and used it for one of their friends. So let me correct myself. And they were basically on a probation, got raided, drug raid or whatever. They was on probation, and we literally, well, the individual literally placed a plea of demurrer for their friend on the record, right? Mind you, this was a probation violation. Well, they end up beating the whole entire thing, right? Case dismissed, everything, got rid of their probation, all of that, all based upon the demurrer because we exercised, okay? We exercised and asserted our right in that particular matter. So that is the difference of those who are going to just walk in and pay something because you're operating according to the law merchant and the statutories of the actual legislative laws of the state. If you're going to operate in that area, or you can come out to a higher jurisdiction as the living and challenge these things, right? You have to know that. Very important that you know, okay? So if you really want to always restore your position as a sovereign individual in commerce, free from the constraints imposed by the current system, then you must assert your rights, okay? So there's many things that we can do. That's the common law side of things. I just spoke on it first. But now we got this human capital. And now inside of this game called the United States Game of America here, and we're going to literally take everything about this legal fiction, everything that is tied to, and we can place it into a trust. And we can play this commerce game along with them. So that means the birth certificate, social security card, your signatures, any form of tangible, intangible properties, any form of any present assets or future assets that you may ever run into can be placed into this trust. Now, your signature represents the consent and obligation of the legal fiction. It is the tool which the legal fiction engages in contracts and commercial activity. Autographs is the living being's authority and consent. And then we got print. This bridges both entities by providing the formal written acknowledgement of their names, the living and the legal fiction. So why convey these to the trust? Because it establishes ownership. Not only that, trademark it, right? If you trademark it, it also becomes an asset of the actual trust as well, okay? So what this allows us to do is even more now, all right? So now we can operate on both sides of the systems here, okay? And we're going to make sure that we're securing the assets. So the trust becomes the custodian of your human capital, the trademark name, your labor, any form of intellectual property that you may have, and protecting them from unauthorized claims or use. Now, I don't care who it is. I don't care what court. I don't care what corporation or individual. They have to have permission, okay? They have to have permission to do business or to use this particular property in any shape, form, or fashion, right? So the trust is the controlling entity. Now it has the legal capacity to use these elements to engage in contracts, negotiate, leverage assets without exposing the living being to any personal liability now. So that means if now something goes down in the court, we come from the trustee perspective, right? And now we're going to motion to intervene. You need to know how to do that. We need to fully be able to intervene. Breaking the bondage and correcting status, guys, it's literally having the knowledge and wisdom to apply everything that deals with your unalienable rights. You have to exercise them. Do not go into these courts. Do not go into these businesses thinking these people are your friends or looking out for you in any kind of way. If you work for a business, the business expects for you to look out for it. Okay, in every single way. And in the way that what should show you that is they're going to tell you in a lot of these businesses, hey, if you create anything or do anything in here, you fully agree that that belongs to this business now, and you cannot take it any further than the business. So everything is going to be in beneficial terms to the business and corporations, right? It's in courts. It's not in favor for you. The prosecutor works for the court. The judge of these particular municipals, they work for the city. They work for who pay them, right? The city pays these municipals through certain activities that they do, certain taxations that they receive from corporations being able to operate within their territories and so on. It all goes into the pockets of the officials who's worked there as well. Okay? Make sure you know that. So don't think anybody's in your favor. Not a public defender. They're not a public defender. It defends the public. It does not defend you in the private capacity. And they're letting you know they're going to operate fully according to the public statutory rules and laws. This is what's going on. Make sure you get that. Okay? Because their job is literally to make sure that the court receives some type of conviction. That's why every public defender will only bring you a plea bargain coming from the prosecutor. That's how they keep up with their 90% rate of conviction. Because their job is to make sure they turn you over and then find a negotiation to agree upon for you to be able to do with the public. That's it. Look at their name, public defender. It does not say private defender. It's not defending you or the people in its private capacity. That's not how it works. That job is up to you all the way. You know? So if you don't do it, then please be expected to literally be taken fully advantage of, because what they do is they play upon your ignorance. Now, you got to know what darkness is. When darkness is spoken of into the Bible, it's everybody's in a dark place in some type of situation. And when I say darkness, I don't mean sad, evil, whatever case. I mean ignorance. In certain situations, everybody in here can walk into darkness, be in the dark. That's why you say, hold on, I'm in the dark over here. Enlighten me, right? So you want light to be brought to you. Our duty is to bring the light into the court, enlighten the court, okay? So if we enlighten the court, we are removing the ignorance. And the ignorance is what? Because they have a presumption of you. They're ignorant of who you really are or what you're really doing here and how you really operate. Okay? So can you operate according to who you are and then the presumptions? Okay? You have to do that. So now that we got the human capital into the trust can pledge your human capital as collateral for agreements on loans or investment, and or the birth certificate or equivalent security now under this trust control can be used to back contractual obligations while keeping the living being insulated from liability. The negotiable instruments, the trust can now issue negotiable instruments backed by the assets it holds. The instruments carry the weight of the trust control over the legal fiction and its certificated security, providing significant commercial powers. Okay? So it's also a liability shield now. All obligation, debts, or liabilities incurred through the legal fiction are managed by the trust, ensuring that the living being's personal rights and properties remain unaffected. See, all of this stuff is considered asset. Your right is an asset. Your property is an asset. Your time is an asset. Your thoughts are assets. Okay? All of it. But you guys got to start thinking broader. So we have this thing, what we call source data. Source data is the signature, autograph, print, and any other listings of you, like addresses and stuff like that they use to transfer to these other companies about you. And then they start sending you certain things saying, hey, you might be pre-approved for this or that or whatever the case may be, right? So this data legally signifies your consent, authority, and acknowledgement of any action taken by the trust on your behalf, right? So what we gonna do, how the trust uses the source data. Well, in any commercial or legal dispute, the trust can present the conveyed source data as evidence of its authority to act on behalf of the living being in the legal fiction. So, we're going to ask the court here today, hey, we see that you're using John H. Doe, which has been trademarked and conveyed into the trust here. All right. And since you are using trust property, and then we'll give evidence showing the conveyance, we can also, if we have a security agreement, show it. And we can also show the trademark, right? All these things, proof, evidence in the pudding. So now we're going to let them know any form of monetary value that has been created in this event belongs to the trust, who is to receive all principal payouts, all interest and dividends. Okay? Because, well, the registered owner, let's go read that what that is again. Registered owner. Let's see what we have. The registered owner. That is what the legal fiction is. The legal fiction transfer its rights and interests as the registered owner into the trust. So it's the owner whose name is recorded in a security issuer registers as the security's owner and is entitled to receive dividends, interest, and principal payouts. So now we just transfer that right and interest into the trust. Now the trust has that power to go and claim these dividends, interest, and principal payouts that the court may create through these particular bonds. Mind you, now listen, this is why I say got to do both. So now we spoke on the common law side. Now we're doing the commercial side of things, because we still have a business to run here. These are assets of the trust. The trust has the right to protect its assets. So that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to make sure that we get what we're supposed to have, because it is your source data. So by holding the source data, the trust establishes itself as the primary entity authorized to engage in commerce using the legal fiction. We want to know who gave them delegation of authority. Okay? Yes, this is in one of my books called the Private Administration class. And I'm also going to be giving this class to those who are going to be participating in the trust administration class this coming July 26th. So yes, this class will be added to it as well. So if you want this book, get the class. It's also going to be discounted, but that'll be given out at the end of the session. So just give me a minute. So now we're securing these commercial rights, guys. Now we got the asset protection. The trust still now shields the living being. We also got tax benefits. We got autonomy in contracts, okay, as well. We got all of that now. Everything is within our hands right now. So now let's say that is in the trust. And what we got the power to do now is pop up and say, okay, we want to make sure if it's in a foreclosure proceeding, right? I'm going to show you what to do. I'm going to show and tell you what needs to be done. And it's very important that you understand this. So let's say it is for a foreclosure, or I don't know, it could be anything. All right. What we want to do is this. For instance, I'm going to break this down to you. The first thing I would do is, since the actual trust owns everything now, as a trustee, we need to do a motion to intervene because they're trying to foreclose on us. That's to say if there's already one going on, correct? So we need to do a motion to intervene as the trustee. Now, when you do this, we have to prove what gives us the right to have intervention into this process. And that's just literally by proving the with evidence, because evidence is everything in any court procedure, right? So let's prove it with evidence. Let's show the conveyance. Let's show the with the conveyance is the legal title, and or we can show the actual commercial security agreement that we have as the first lien holder, which would be the trust now, okay, over the estate and any of its intangible and tangible project assets, excuse me, right? So now once we did the motion to intervene, we're going to do a motion to compel. Now I want you to listen. So now comes John H. Doe, trustee of the John H. Doe Living Trust, will say, defendant in the above captioned matter, respectfully move this honorable court, okay, to compel the plaintiff to produce the original note associated with the claim in this case. This motion is made to ensure compliance with, we'll say this happened in Alabama, the Uniform Commercial Code and due process principles, which require the plaintiff demonstrate its standing and authority to enforce a negotiable instrument. Has to show proof. Now, I know a lot of courts try to let them get away with a copy, but you have to assert the right to where this matters in your defense and is very detrimental to your defense and can cause irreparable harm if they do not make them show proof of the original. Okay? You have to make it known in that sense. So, under Alabama Code 7-3-301, only the holder in due course, defined as the party in physical possession of the original instrument with the right to enforce it, may initiate an action based on negotiable instrument. Now, when you guys go to try to push the UCC matter, you have to use the UCC of your particular state because every state has adopted the UCC. Go and use it. It is part of the law. Okay? The original note serves as prima facie evidence of the plaintiff's authority and is essential to establish standing, as confirmed in J.P. Morgan Chase Bank versus Mantle. Okay? So, what is the importance of the note? Without the original note, the plaintiff cannot substantiate its claim or prove its right to enforce the debt. Well, this takes us back to what? We have the right to efface our accuser, right? We have the right to efface everything that they have to consider as evidence to make this claim. So that takes us back to the common law side of things. And by a common law, as a trustee, you have the right, because it is possession and property of the particular trust. The trust now has the right, the trustee has the right to also protect that. So right now, we're operating in that realm. Okay? Just so you know. All right, so now a copy is not sufficient, okay? A copy is insufficient to meet the burden of proof under Alabama Code 7-3-309, enforcement of lost, destroyed, or stolen instrument as well. You also got the U.S. Bank National versus Ibanez, which establishes that a party seeking enforcement of a note must possess the original and demonstrate clear ownership. A chain of title must be established. To enforce a negotiable instrument, the plaintiff must provide an unbroken chain of title documenting its ownership from the original lender to the current holder as affirmed in the Dutch Bank National versus Lichtenfels. That was in Ohio in 93. So defendant's right to discovery. So now this is what you have to do. Prove it in discovery, because discovery and part of the rules and procedures, civil procedures, you have to understand that the rule of law is also part of due process of law. So under Rule 26B and 1 of the Alabama Rules of Civil Procedure, the defendant is entitled to discovery of materials relevant to the plaintiff's claim, including the original promissory note and all assignments or endorsements. So now that is the rule of law. So now we just took away from them being able to give us any form of copies. Okay? Now we ask for the relief that they make them produce it, require the plaintiff to provide documentation, just demonstrating the chain of title, and suspend any further proceedings in the case until the plaintiff produces the original note supporting the documentation. We do a certificate of service and serve the parties, right? So what we did was we stepped in with our chain of title, exercising through common law, motion to intervene. Now we're asking them to compel because this belongs to the trust. So we want you to show proof and validate exactly what you're saying, because also the duty of the trust is to be the suretyship for John A. Stowe. So we also have to go and protect it. That is part of the rights and obligations that we have as the trustee, since we have done the declaration of trust, conveyed everything, and also through the commercial security agreement as well. So now we have fully established that. Okay. Now that's just one way, and they're going to have to do it. If they don't do it, then it's for you to put in a motion to reconsider for this particular reason, because it will cause you irreparable harm. If they still choose not to do that, then we need to immediately go to the higher court and do a extraordinary writ, something of like a writ of prohibition, to prohibit the actual lower court from continuing with these proceedings without showing and making them have a hearing with this particular motion and compelling them to produce for the record the original note to keep from causing you irreparable harm. Because if they continue through this, here's the thing. If they continue through this procedure without them having to show proof of that, then it's going to cause you harm. They're going to go in favor of the plaintiff. The plaintiff will now be able to foreclose or repossess on you immediately. All right. And the only thing that you can do from that point on is hurry up and get in the appellate court and do a temporary injunction until this matter is handled along the way. Well, you can literally prevent that from happening by being able to literally go to the higher court and do an extraordinary writ first. Now, all of this is what I'm saying is part of the status correction. It's for you to know the law, know the rule of law, due process of law, and the operation of it, and how to stay within it and still ask all the questions that we want to ask without sounding like that sovereign citizen that they are always constantly saying that we are as people. Trying to say you're sovereign citizens, trying to represent yourself, little sovereign citizen. And that's because y'all going there, I'm the agent for the principal and the trustee for the what's the name. And if you any of that, in order for you to say that, you have to go by the court rules. So if you're going to come in these capacities, you have to do what? Let me see if y'all learned something today. If you're going to come in any of these capacities that y'all try to go and claim, what do you got to do? I'm listening. What do you need to do? Special appearance? Nope. Let's see. It could be kind of considered a special appearance, but special appearance of who? Because you can't just put in a notice of special appearance. Follow the rules of the court? Absolutely. Put the trust on the record? The trust goes on the record when you do a certain thing. Motion to intervene as a third party? Absolutely. That is exactly what you do, Mr. Brooks. You have to motion to intervene as the party and state that you claim you are. We have to follow the rules. It's okay for you to be the agent, the this, and all of this type of stuff, but you still got to do a motion to intervene based upon who you say you are, and now you got to prove your rights and interests that you have related to this particular case about what you're trying to say and claim who and what you are. But just going in there speaking and saying it, notices don't do a damn thing in court. That's another thing. You can give a notice. The only notice that counts in the court is a judicial notice because it is considered facts and evidence. That's the public venue, right? All this other stuff that y'all try to go and say about who and what you are in that type of way, that's something that should be done and handled on a private side through like in a commercial sense, not in a public venue trying to exercise common law. It's not how that works. You got to know the difference. You literally have to know the difference. So just like I was saying earlier, in the traffic case, we would send from the trust a notice of secured interest to the clerk of court stating that, hey, this name has been trademarked. We find you using trust property. Do you have the delegation to pay for it? Do you have the delegation of authority to use it, and or some type of contract? Otherwise, this is going to be considered an implied contract and a constructive trust. Any dividends, interest, and principal payouts of monetary value that may come from this event is owed to the trust. That's what we're going to do. And how we're going to do that? We're going to show proof of authority. So we're going to show them the security agreement, the UCC1, and or the legal title of conveyance of these particular things, right? Now, we just left that fully open for them on the commercial side. Now, that's just the private side of things. In the public side, I'm over here motion to intervening as the trustee protecting the trust assets, and I'm also going to do a motion to a production of accounting because I want an accounting of this whole entire case. If there's bonds, anything that has been created, any money, I got to see that because it's my duty to do so, right? So you see how I'm doing public, private, all at the same time? They work parallel to one another. You just have to understand that yourself. And really, if once you learn that part, everything else becomes easier. I'm going to say it like that. It becomes easier to do so. Like, for instance, when it comes to if you just went and got a car, all right, wait 2-3 weeks. Really ain't gotta wait that damn long. But anyway, just wait 2 to 3 weeks. And literally go to wherever you bought the state, whatever your contract says that you are doing in whatever state is governed under whatever state law. They have to literally do a UCC1, right? A financial statement, right? And do a UCC 11 search and just say, hey, let me see if there's a lien, okay, on your legal fiction and the collateral that's within it. Let's just see, right? And let's say it comes back as nothing. And if it comes back as nothing, then that means they did not perfect their claim, okay, according to UCC Article 9. Okay, I don't care if they went to the DMV and let them know that they have a lien on it. They can put all of that. That's just informing. But they don't have an actual lien, perfect the lien, until they actually do the UCC 1. If it's not there, what does that mean, family? Drop it in the comments. What does that mean? If it's not there, what does that mean for you? See where y'all at. We got 15 more minutes. I'm doing hour sessions today. Open. Okay. I guess that's a word to use. What does it mean to you if it's not there? Yeah, you can claim it. Come on. I'm looking for a word. One word. Starts with the A. They don't have legal title, and now we can collect. Come on. It's a word. Yeah, we can do all that. Abandon. It's abandoned. So if it's abandoned, abandon should lead to what? What does abandonment mean? Abandon should lead to one thing. We're going to say, well, now I want you to think taxes. Abandonment should lead to what? Mm-hmm. Think taxes. Abandoned. Yes, we get to make acquisition for sure, but something was abandoned. In order to make the acquisition, we have to realize something was abandoned. And since y'all saying acquisition, 1099A. Exactly. So the 1099A is what we should exercise. And what goes in that little property where it says the property, you put the freaking car, the VIN number, everything. You put it right there. because they abandoned it. How did they abandon it? Because they did not perfect their claim. So since they didn't perfect their claim and it was abandoned, what do you do now? We're going to take that trust. Swoop, we're going to swoop on in with that trust. Because the trust duty is to what? Protect the collateral and interest of the estate, which has already been granted. So if that's the case, now we do a 1099-A. Okay? Make sure we know it's abandoned. We use the trust. The trust takes it. Now we go do a full, if you already got a UCC1, you can do a UCC3 and add this to it, okay, within your trust, and literally place a lien on the vehicle. And make sure that you put everything within your actual, put it within the Schedule A as well on your trust. And now all we need to do is send a notice of security interest, abandonmentship, etc., to the DMV and tell them to release the title to you because there is no lien perfected. So immediately send that to them along with the UCC 11 search. Get a certified copy if you like. Send it to them. Let them know there is no lien here. It has not been perfected. Well, if there is a lien and it has been perfected, it's with the trust. So that's it. It's yours now. And the only difference is somebody like, oh man, it's just no, bro. We operating according to letter of law. That's what we're doing. We're just using the rules and operating according to the rules, doing exactly what it says, and that's it. It's done. Right? So now y'all like, all right, but they still gonna come back and say we owe. No, you do not owe. Because what was their duty, family? What was their duty? Go back and read your contracts. Their duty was to literally to make sure that they hold and protect that particular property in collateral as secured interest. They didn't fulfill their obligations in perfecting it. So since they didn't fulfill it, it also means that this is a what? It's a breach of freaking contract as well. They failed to perform. We don't owe you nothing. Now, since you want to come at us and say we owe you anything as far as in debt or anything of that nature, see, the first letter they send me with a threatening letter, guess what I'm going to do? Put it in the chat. What you think I'm going to do? The first threatening letter I get about anything, what am I going to do? Injunction. There you go. I am going to do an injunction. And I'm going to tell them to show proof and validate their claim. Totally. That's exactly what I'm going to do. And what that's going to make happen is, and I have to do this coming from a trustee. So I'm going to do this, and I'm going to bring it in my name as the trustee. You can't do this. You can bring something in your name as the trustee for the trust. But you can, if you put the trust name, you cannot go in for the trust because the trust is considered a legal fiction, which now means you have to hire an actual lawyer. Okay? You can do it that way too, either or. Okay? But they finna have to come prove this in court. And oh yes, my motion of discovery is game tight. Because I got so many freaking questions. I got so many things I need you to produce that I know you can't. But I need that. Gotta have it. And literally, and this is another thing that y'all need to start doing. Start typing your letters in case style. Like, stop sending your notices with the notice of this and this. Listen, put it as if you are going to do it in case style. Because what you're letting them know is, I'm very, very capable of taking it and filing a suit or receiving the remedy. I'm very capable of making you come to court for these particular things that I'm going to be asking you for. So when you send out your letters or notices or whatever the case, operate it as in a fashion of if you were in court. Because once you do that, the attorney, whoever's going to be reading, is going to know we can't beat them. One, they're operating according to the rule of law, and it's nothing we can do here. It's nothing we can do. So if they have this and we have to produce this, and then they do a motion production for this and this and that, then we can't produce this for them. So I'm just going to advise you to settle out of court right now with them, right now. Right now, I did this. My situation was a little different because of the bank I was dealing with, but I dealt with a bank. And I did an accord of satisfaction for $25. Sent it to them along with the letter. I did it according to the rules of accord of satisfaction. They still deposited the check and placed the $25 in there. I did a full accounting on it, and then I had it where it was placed in there, where it shows proof that they deposited. And then what I did from that point was I took it to court. I sued. And made them come and try to, prove it on the record. So what they did was a lawyer ended up hitting me back and was like, hey, first they was like, we seen you send something to our clients. You're not supposed to be sending anything to them. It's supposed to come to us. But however, I was given the authority to settle with you outside of court. Right? And so it was like, but they said, but we just want you to know you have no merit here. If I don't got no freaking merit, why are you wanting to settle? It's an easy win for you. You see what I'm saying? What's the point here? Like, I know that you really want to win. You don't want to take an L on your side. So they was like, yeah, let's do a joint. It's kind of like a joint. I forgot what it's called, but it's basically where the parties agree to settle outside of court, right? So we did that. We settled outside of court. I ended up getting the title and everything that I needed and all of that type of stuff, and move forward. But my point in me saying this is they realized they couldn't win, and the smartest thing they could do was settle out of court instead of letting this be on the court record for certain things, and they pushed forward from there. But my point is just operate the law. No matter how smart these people think they are, because you can't outsmart truth. You can be very knowledgeable of whatever. And if I'm just as knowledgeable as you are about court procedures and all I need to have is truth proof in the law, then hey, you can't beat me. It's nothing to worry about. It's an easy win, but they swerving down. You have no merit. And okay, if that's the case, what we doing? Why you want to settle out of court? She didn't say nothing. But it's cool though. We not tripping. All right. All righty. So hope you guys picked up a few things, man. That is my time for this moment. We'll be back on here in a few more hours to pick up and talk about a few more things. Anything that you guys are interested in and speaking on and stuff like that, please do send me a message from whatever platform that you are watching from. But at this time, I got something special for you guys. So we got 2 upcoming classes. Trust administration class, guys. So if you want what I was reading from today and the actual full class, because it also comes with plenty of other stuff. Let me see how many I got. Yeah. So if you want that class, all of this comes with it. If you want what I was reading from today, which is the private administration class, all of these documents and everything is going to go along with it. I'll put it over here so you guys can see. So all of these is going to go along with it, with this particular class. I'm giving this class to you guys today free. It will go along with the trust administration class. And that's the private administration and the asset protection class that I said that will go with this class. So you're getting 2 classes for free for this class. And I'm also going to give you a discount right now for this class. So if you're interested in joining this class right now, you can get locked in with us for $125 for the live stream. All right. $125 for the live stream. And if you're coming in person, I'll give it to you at $150. All right. And those 2 classes come along with it as well. Okay. Trust administration is kind of what I spoke to you about today and a whole lot more. So make sure you go to admin at ingodwetrustacademy.org and send us an email and put discount. Okay. Now that's that class. This is on July the 26th, 10 a.m. Central Time. So we pretty much have 11 days. So 11 days is when this class is. Get in, lock in with your family, etc. All right. And also you can refer people. So if you get any referrals, please let us know. Tell the individual to let us know that you were referred. And then I'm also going to give you a free ebook. Okay. Now, if you want to continue, if you're on TikTok with me, you want to go back and watch this video over again, follow us on our YouTube channel, In God We Trust Academy. All right, now we also got another class, August the 9th, which is the Hidden Ledger. It's about banking and learning how to get your deposits back and making an equitable claim on your deposits since they are doing fractional reserve banking, which means if you do $100, they can create up to $900 to $1,000. And that is your equitable interest. Well, a lot of you have interest-bearing accounts, so you're only receiving 0.005%, which literally means that out of all the money that you deposit throughout the whole year in your bank, they probably got to give you an interest of maybe 15, 25%, but 15 cents, 25 cents, maybe $1. But if you want to change that, you need to learn how to operate with a trust and create a non-interest bearing account and use common law to literally exercise the rights of the actual trust and receive more. Now, I'm also going to let you get in this class live stream. Now, this class also is going to come with building the kingdom, which shows you how to build a 508. And it's also going to come with the declaration of trust class, which shows you how to build your own full trust, etc. All right. So you can literally get this class at $125 and also in person, $150. So you have 24 hours to do this. Go to admin at ingodwetrustacademy.org. We'll say you have until 12 o'clock tomorrow evening. So we'll say that. Admin at ingodwetrustacademy.org. Okay. So lock in, do everything I said. You can also go to our website, ingodwetrustacademy.com. There's plenty of other things there, consultations, anybody looking for anything of that matter, please do so. All right. We're giving you guys the opportunity to change your life. Now, here's something about me. I don't know why that keeps freezing like that, but it did. All right, here's something about myself. Okay. So y'all can know me. For those of you who ain't never did a class with me, been with me at all. I know y'all get people that teach you part of it, then have another part, and so on and so on. Listen, I don't got that type of time. I'm going to give you everything. You can have it. It's yours. Do what you want to with it. But here's the deal. You got to still do it yourself. You still got to read yourself. You still got to apply it yourself. You still got to study yourself, right? All of that is on you. Being able to point you to the right information, because I don't deal with theories. If we can't show it and prove it in law, it's non-existent. So that's how I operate. And everything that I say and have said, I can show it and prove it to you through law. I can show it, prove it through receipts and methods that I have done and along with others. So it's up to you to do what you want to with it, okay, for you. Now, here's another thing. The mastering lawsuit and Defend and Conquer class is about to go on sale. I'm going to say it again. The Mastering Lawsuits and Defend and Conquer class is about to go on sale this weekend. So if you're also interested in that, we will have a sale. And this is teaching you literally how to go in courts and operate according to the rule of law. Literally. No theories. You will know exactly what the lawyers know, probably a little bit more because a lot of them cut corners and things like that. So I'm just letting you know. I'm going to give everything to you more freely than they ever charged because we do things like this, and then we're about to get back into work sessions Mondays and Wednesdays. We talk about a lot of different stuff. So it's all up to you to do what you want to. And yes, fact check me. I'm okay with that. I don't mind. And if I can be taught something to learn something, please come tell me. I'm an open book to learn. Right? Just so we're very clear on that. All right. I appreciate you guys for your time. It is what, 1:30. I'm gonna eat. Probably be back on here about around 5, 6 o'clock. Lock in up with us some more. And yeah, share, like, share, and subscribe, family. I appreciate you guys. Do exactly what I instructed you to do in order for you to receive the discounts. I'm automatically giving you, along with those classes that I'm giving away, let's say twofold. That's almost $700, really. You know what I'm saying? But I'm giving it to you freely, 2 classes freely at $125 for, well, actually 3 for 1. So, you know, I'm just trying to show as much love as I possibly can, especially to those who really want to learn this but don't actually have the financial stability to go and purchase $3,000-$4,000 classes. The most I didn't ever purchase was a $10,000 class, along with a few other people. We did it together. But I'm trying to keep you guys from having to do shit like that because maybe you don't have the means, the funds, or whatever the case may be. But here's your opportunity to do so, right? I appreciate y'all, man. Y'all have a great and beautiful day. If I don't see you again, and if not, I will see you guys later. Your live is not eligible for recommendation. It's restricted in search results because it primarily directs people off the platform. This is in line with the For You feed eligibility. Oh boy, always. All right, guys. Y'all have a great day. I'm out of here. They paying with debt notes anyway. I know, right?